So today's question is, what do we need to know before we go into algebra? Well, the first thing is we need to know the order of operations and basic mathematical operations. So we need to be able to we need to be able to work through and simplify expressions quickly. I need to be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fluently. And I should really know how to deal with exponents and square roots within that and more complex groupings. Now, this is more than just having memorized the order of operations. This is about being able to use it fluently. No matter how big an expression is or how complex, if you follow that order of operations for a numeric expression, you will be able to simplify it. Can you simplify any numeric expression? Try a few and see where you're at. The more fluent you are with the order of operations, the more ready you are for algebra. The second thing that I would look at is, where are you at when it comes to working with fractions, percents, and decimals? You need to be fluent in these as well. What I see happening a lot with students is that they're able to solve even some fairly complex equations when they deal with whole numbers or integers. But as soon as I toss in a fraction, the student isn't sure what to do. And I've seen this happen all the way up. I've tutored calculus students where this is the case, and fractions are the bane of their existence, and they shouldn't be. And the root problem this comes down to is that when you get into higher mathematics, an algebra teacher or a calculus teacher is not going to take the time to explain fractions to you. They can't. They have too much other material to teach you. You need a solid grounding in fractions now. The good news is there's lots of places to get it. There's tutors who can help you with that. You can do online tutoring. You can do Khan Academy. There's no reason that you should not be able to get a good grounding in fractions, percents, and decimals before you move on to your algebra class. But that's something you really want to make sure you have, because it helps and makes it so much easier to learn the algebraic concepts when you're not trying to relearn the fractions or the percentages. All right, another one. You need to be fluent in integer operations. Now, again, I said that whole numbers and integers are a little bit different there. Students generally don't struggle too much with whole number operations. But you need to be fluent with integers. That is to say, what is 5 plus negative 2? So treating negative numbers as different than subtraction. 5 minus 2 and 5 plus negative 2 are the same. Being comfortable with that, being able to work with that negative number, or being able to work with things like negative 7 minus 2. It's negative 9. So dealing with those negative values in integers becomes a pretty important part of algebra, because we start to just kind of work with them commonly, and they don't throw us off too much. So it's good to be comfortable with integer operations that do not only involve whole numbers. Alrighty, so those are some of the big ones. I would also throw in there that you need to be comfortable working with some of the less common operations. And these are not absolute necessities. They'll probably talk with you about them again. You should be familiar with absolute value, with exponents, square roots, etc. So things of that nature. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be an expert. Usually your algebra teacher will explain to you what it means in algebra. But you need to know that the absolute value of negative 7 is 7, because it's measuring the distance from the origin, 0. So it doesn't account for direction. It's not accounting for that negative direction. You need to know that exponents is repeated multiplication, and as such, if you have a negative squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. If you have a negative cubed, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is negative 8. So you have to be aware of some of those things that happen with exponents when you're dealing with a numeric value. That numeric expression will affect how you understand that numeric expression, I should say, will affect how you're able to understand the algebraic expression x squared or x cubed. Same thing with square roots. What is your level of understanding in a square root? Now, if you've memorized all your square roots and you understand what a square root is, that will take you a long way as we start dealing with the square root of x. It's going to simplify a complex concept because you already understand the underlying concept. Which leads me to the last point. All numeric concepts in math, all numeric concepts in math have a bearing, you might say, on our algebraic and our understanding of the related algebraic concepts. So any concept that you know you struggle with in lower mathematics is going to be a concept you want to go back and address before algebra. Whether that's fractions, percents, decimals, integers, whether that is simplifying fractions, anything that you feel uncomfortable with or that you know has been a challenge to you in the past is something to address now. Now, it doesn't mean you won't be able to get into algebra or do well in algebra, but every bit of effort you put in now will simplify the effort you need to put in dealing with the algebraic concepts that relate to those numeric concepts. So the more effort you put in up front in numeric math and in arithmetic, the better benefits you're going to receive as you transfer into algebraic math and variables.